Great new song, Surrender by reijo. Please welcome Storm and James to AVA Live Radio. Hi there, guys. How are you?
Well, hello, Jacqueline.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm amazing.
We are wonderful. Thanks
you.
for so much for having us. Are you amazing? That's
yeah.
Good. Well, that's a good start
I'm
for the show.
Really having a great day. I am.
Awesome.
So very, very happy for that. It doesn't get any better than getting to hear amazing music on the radio and talk to you guys. That just makes my day every time I get to do it.
Same for us. We love music, and we really love that song, whatever you just played.
Sweet thing.
By
Kevin?
You got that, yeah, Kevin Gullickson, Radio Drive. He's terrific. I know, he really is. He's been with us for quite some time, and I have to say he's always been an inspiration to many of the artists. So it's great that he was able to come back and, make a big comeback, which I'm sure you guys can relate to because there's a lot of pitfalls in the industry, and it can be really hard.
We make a habit of falling right into every single one of them and then figuring out a way to climb ourselves back out of it. I think that's pretty accurate. Yes. So we agree wholeheartedly, but I think certainly any thing you do is hard. That's part of being a person, being a human. That's So I don't think that we're unique in it. There's certainly challenges, but they're surmountable. There's still lots of energy, and I think picking up on some threads that you and Kevin were speaking about. Yeah, it's the failures or the lessons that come out of it make us the type of people that keep moving forward and doing better and striving to do better, and that's certainly consistent over here for us as well.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. It really is. And I'm sure he appreciates that as well because, sometimes you feel like when you don't have your band together that you don't have those other members to really console you when things go up and down. And that's a lot of what happens in the business, right? We're always going up and down. There's everything from, I thought this song was really going to be amazing and for some reason nobody reacted to it, to I just got completely disappointed by someone that I took a chance on. So that's always going to happen in business, and it's always going to happen in this business. But we're so emotionally tied to it that's where the struggle feels so real and can really knock us off our horse, I think.
That's the amazing part about our band. James and I are brothers. We've written a lot of these songs over the years, and some didn't come to life until we brought the other two members into the room. And the same passion for the tone and the dynamics and the sonics that we're trying to create as two members all of a sudden grew with the four. And so we would write the bass lines and we would write the drums, but until we got that creative energy from them, that's the point these songs really took off and had a life of their own.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, you guys mentioned Bono in some of your quotes to me and some of the pre-interview, and I can kind of hear that U2 influence in your music for sure. Has this been something that you were aiming for? Is it something that just really fit for you guys?
Definitely not a conscious effort. It's just sort of come out of the influences. We have a lot of British influences like the Stone Roses, Charlatans, but the biggest thing was we put music out there and it was such a struggle, and we sort of put it away for a while and asked ourselves, is this really what we want to do? And I think at some point we made the choice to live our lives and try to move on from it. But because we grew up with it and our father was a DJ and we're just surrounded by vinyl records every day, it was just in us and we had to come back to it. It just dragged us back in. So instead of trying to craft what we thought was the ideal, we just let what was in us come out. And that's the quote that I had provided. I'd heard Bono once say, it's best to just let what's in you come out. And once we took that approach, it just came out.
I think like Storm was saying, I mean, conscious or otherwise, try not to be conscious. We get it. We absolutely get it. It's pretty much de facto number one when we get response from audience. And it maybe there are points where that might have bothered us or we would go, well, we have to do it differently but I think we've pretty much gotten to the point where we embrace it. I mean, that's a band that's had longevity. I mean, why would you not shoot for the stars? A band that's still touring currently at this point in their career. I mean, how could you not want to? So it's not replicating that, but how could you not want to strive for something that's consistent? And I think, at the end of the day, we're 4 members: Patrick on drums, Quay on bass, myself on part-time guitars when they let me, and singing, and Storm on guitars, and of course singing too. That's 4 people that are of similar age that have similar influences. So there's unique influences around the room, but at the same time, I think what you're hearing is an essence of a nostalgic sound that just all of us couldn't escape because it was within us. That's the music we grew up listening to. And certainly you choose at the forefront of that,
Yeah, no, I absolutely want more. There are not enough people creating this kind of music to even feed the fire that exists in the fan of somebody who's grown up listening to it, So there is a niche audience there for sure. Yeah, I'm a believer that your influences need to reflect in your music, and ultimately whatever it is that you grew up with and loved will come back eventually. You'll try a lot of different things, but ultimately you will end up where you started. And I see that a lot with people, especially when they make it. That's where they end up. It's the roots.
It's like the cradle or something. It's the foundational by which we're coming to our understandings. And we don't know where we want to go, what direction success could lead us. But I think when you lose direction, there's always a space to come back to foundation, and it's at the core of all the songs. So I would almost say we start here and then ask the bigger question of where does it go after that. But at least we know that we've got a starting point that keeps 4 contributing members consistent in the room.
Yeah, the foundation is exactly who we are, as you said, and as James has alluded to, we bring in some Roy Orbison influences and some Chris Isaak things and arrangements, but the foundation is exactly who we are, and we've accepted it and gone with it, and now we take it in different directions. Each song, I think what we're really good at is keeping our groove and keeping our bass, but a lot of the songs are quite different from each other. And listen to Shadows, which is a 4-on-the-floor, hard-driving song, and then Surrender, which has sort of got a dream pop element to it, but that's, at the same time, when you hear those songs back to back, you can tell who that is, and that's completely us, and that's not crafted. That's just because the foundation is strong.
Well, that's wonderful that you guys have such a good sense of self. It's important as a band and important to be cohesive with it and everybody be in agreement. What's the music industry like in Alberta, Canada today? I mean, what's been going on there with you? Are there places for you to play this music, or are you really entirely focused on reaching out through internet?
Good question. There's a lot of talent in Alberta. That remains consistently true. It's an amazing place for all sorts of diversity of music. It's a little bit further away from places like where you are residing currently, so I think it's a little bit harder for bands to really reach an audience in a large-scale sense. So yes, there's places to play. The diversity really is incredible. A lot of it has started to move to folk and roots and sort of regress kind of right back to a basic kind of folk root sound, I'd say here, predominantly in our experience. And then there's and a lot of country influence up here because we're in the heart of country music space in Canada. So there is places for us. I wouldn't say that we the breadth of places is amazing, but we sort of also look at the space for us as maybe us not fitting in, but that it's our attempt to win lots of people over in regardless of the genres they prefer. We think that's important, that music is meant to connect, and how we connect is really irregardless or immaterial of genre. It's that we have something to say and that it's worth discussing or listening to.
So true.
One of the greatest things one of the funnest things in Calgary is when we get to play with a little bit heavier bands and stuff in some of the festivals and charities that we do, and it's always very complimentary, and guys who would not be pictured as our fans are coming over and saying, love that riff, that's not, it's not the power chord I play, but what were you doing there? That was amazing. It sounded great. It was different. And so the more we play and because we are unique in our area, in our region, but we have that camaraderie with the bands, and we know that we're fighting for the same goal to create a scene, and it's all about connecting to the fans. And so once the bands play together, we have this unification that sort of happens in this town. And it sort of comes from not having, the bigger cities like Vancouver and Toronto come and scout us all the time. But within the community itself, it's very strong.
We hear there's lots of great places to play down south.
Yeah, I totally understand what you guys are saying. I do. It's been, I think that today's band staying connected with their fans on social media is an absolute must, and something that it's challenging, yes, but it's something that you have to develop a knack for. Don't you agree?
Totally agree. And James is an expert at it and learning more as we go.
Is he really?
The biggest thing is we like...
He's very kind.
We're brothers. We have to suck up to each other every once in a while. The biggest thing is, like, we have all traveled the world and we've lived in different places, and we sort of got the sense of what's the best of each culture, and we like to share that, and we like new ideas. So for us to get in a van or in a bus and tour this stuff around would be amazing. But even if, I'm just going to hint here, like 40 people in Florida got together and said, we want to hear you guys, we'll come. And that's the sort of connections we want to make through social media, is where will our music fit the best. It may not fit in a certain city, but it might be well represented in a different region, and that's what we want to focus on, is how can we connect in the festivals and in the venues in that area, and we'll take our music where it should go.
You know what I've always been a big fan of? I've always been a big fan of insights. So if you're going to be on one platform, just make sure that it has great insights as far as where the fan base is, because you'll see people commenting, but not always can you get a big vision as to where those people are at. But things like YouTube and Facebook and some of these social sites, they're able to give you insights as to what cities and where those fans are so heavily driven and listen to your music. There have been a lot of bands. Go ahead.
I was going to say, anyone listening that, if you haven't delved into this, it is fascinating, even from just the sheer curiosity. We put our music out there, and you're right. You're not quite sure all the time of who's connecting and who isn't. But it takes as little as one person to reach out and say, hey, I'm here, and I heard you. I mean, that is the power of radio. That's the power of the internet. That's what all this stuff is supposed to be about, isn't it? The connecting.
Is.
So yeah, we might get somebody from the UK who wants us to come over, and that's happened, and we'd love to do that. All of a sudden, somebody contacts you. Hey, I heard you. I'm in Romania. Just places you couldn't even begin to fathom outside of, the local scene in the bar. The connections that you make locally, they're the most tried and true. But it is amazing and fascinating, just fascinating where people end up hearing and finding you, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's an exciting thing that we all have available to us right now, and I certainly hope we continue to have it. They've talked a lot about the changes and how things are going to be a lot more voice activated than ever before, but I think ultimately, we always have survived as musicians, and we've always found our road and our best way to reach people, and there's so much going on today that with video being at the forefront and live streams still being very, very popular on these platforms, it seems like a natural space for entertainers to be in. And, so I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm excited to see you guys on it. It's going to be fun. I mean, look, we got connected this far just from social media.
Yeah, it's amazing so far.
If you hadn't tweeted, or your team hadn't tweeted, it's absolutely true. And we're not going away anytime soon. So even for first-time people to our music, please check us out. We're on Bandcamp as our main spot. We really that's the space where our last album, Tomorrowland, resides for us. There's a new album in the works. So yeah, we're not going away anytime soon. We hope that we can keep this conversation going.
Yeah, and just adding to that on the social media part of it, the one thing we've tried to build as we've built our show is we're trying to build the team and the community around that. And we know that it takes more than just four guys plugging in their instruments to make a successful music venture. And there's room for videographers in our town, and there's room for. We work with a really good mixing guy, Steve Durkins, who moved from Los Angeles. He's been a big part of our sound and having crafted, and we learned from him. And we work with some video guys that are great here, and that's the team. It's becoming the team, and we grow that. And then on the other side of it, when our music's bought from iTunes and Google Play and Amazon, it helps us a little bit, but we run a dedicated Bandcamp, as James has said, reijo.bandcamp.com, where if you buy direct from us, we can email back and forth, or we can send you the new song, or we can send you a preview of the one we're about to and sort of get your input. And once, like when we get that feedback from our fans, we can sort of craft different songs and different styles, or do the remix of something else and send that to you for free. And that's what we're trying to do with Bandcamp. It worked with SoundCloud for us for a while, and we had people tuning in from India every time we uploaded a track. We uploaded a Christmas track version of Little Drummer Boy that took off in India, and it was getting passed around. And it's still a classic. We leave it up there at Christmas time, and it's a fun thing for us. And we just crafted that for other people. And we worked with a friend of ours from the band Dishwalla, bassist Scott Alexander, took one of our songs and remixed it and posted it on YouTube. And he's a good friend of ours, and we love Dishwalla, Counting Blue Cars, and all their songs. And we've made those connections. We're all part of that team, and we do help each other out that way. And that's what we're trying to do through our Bandcamp site, is make those connections.
It's wonderful. And so good to hear from you guys. I'm so glad that you managed to make it to the show, and that now we're friends, and we get to work together moving forward. So thanks for being here, and so good to get to know you. Thanks, Storm, and thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jacqueline. We appreciate your time. It's amazing.
You're very welcome. Those guys are amazing. What a great conversation. It's important that a band knows where they are, where they're going, and I think it's so important to be close and in alignment with your roots, no matter what they are. And you don't have to be apologetic in any way for the kind of music that you ever make, because if it's you and it's authentically you, it's you. It doesn't matter if it references one or another genre or another musician or anything that has really spoken to you, because we are all the music that we were raised on, basically. And if it was great music, and let's hope that it was, then you developed a great ear and the ability to create it. And to be able to do that in your own name, in your own brand, is so special and such a huge challenge that I, for one, respect every single note that comes out of these musicians' mouth and instrument, because I know what it takes to get to where they are. And I know all of the pitfalls that they had to cross and hurdles that they had to cross in order to get to where they are today. So they say that it takes a amazing town, a village of people, to be able to make anything happen. And you know what? It surely does. So you, as music fans, you need to be really close to your musicians. Get on their Bandcamp pages and their websites and support their music. Don't make them ask for the sale, because you know what? They shouldn't have to. If you love the music, go and buy it. Don't just subscribe to it on Spotify or wherever they've provided it for you. Support them, because this is what really gives back so much more. Every time they see those sales coming in, they want to create more music. So if you want to hear more, then you have to give just a little bit in order to get that. And I want to encourage you guys to do it. Thank you so much to Kevin Gullickson and Storm and James from reijo. You guys are just everything that I hope that every musician aspires to be. So thank you for being here with me, and I honor you so much because you guys are all doing such a great job. This is Jacqueline Jacks for A.V.A. Live Radio. Amazing to have you guys here listening to the segment. Thank you to iHeartradio for supporting us this year, as well as Anchor FM for all the advertising that they are doing on our behalf. You guys have been amazing, and we are so glad to keep this show going. It's been 10 years. I am still in this chair. It blows my mind that I am, but I'm happy to be here. Have a great one, you guys. And
Hi, this is Tiffany, and I love AVA Live Radio.
This is Brian J. Klein, and I love AVA Live Music.
This is Rob Hill from Canada, and I absolutely love AVA Live Radio.
Hi, this is Tara Everly of Iridescence, and I love AVA Live Radio.
Hey guys, this is Jacqueline Jackson. I love AVA Live Radio.
This is Lainey Nash, and I love AVA Live Radio.
This is Chris Bishop, and I love AVA Live Radio.
Hi, this is Naomi Thumb, and I love AVA Live Radio.
Hi, we're Orange Avenue,
and we love AVA Live Radio.
Have you always wanted to become fitter, stronger, and improve your daily life? Sometimes we need that little extra push when it comes to fitness. A personal trainer at World Health will provide the motivation, support, and accountability you need to get and stay healthy. Start your transformation today. Get 3 training sessions for $3. Conditions apply. Visit one of 7 Calgary clubs for details or go to worldhealth.ca.